Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Hello, Hannah. Good
Hello.
evening.
Good evening.
How are
How-
you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Tomorrow's Friday,
Yay.
so got to get to the weekend.
Please.
It is December, early part of December right now, so the year is coming to an end pretty quickly. And we were kind of just talking beforehand that it's been a really just big dead time right now of Star Wars. Not even a lot of people just talking about it. So we'll kind of dive into that a little bit in this episode. But first up, I think of course, thanks to our patrons as always for sticking with us all this time. Appreciate all of you. And if you're interested in checking out our tiers, it's patreon.com/inside the force. And just a quick preview too, that will be on our YouTube next week probably. Did a council sessions with Martin the other night, and it ended up being kind of a long one, as we always do.
I was about to say, what's new there?
Well, we talked about we've had discussions, and me and you had one last week about our thoughts of Dave Filoni's new role and what that means. Well, on council sessions, we talked about if we were chief operating officer, what decisions would we make? What stories would we talk about? So
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty interesting conversation. So
can't wait to listen.
yeah, it was pretty neat. The things we came up with and kind of spitballed back at each other, and he had some interesting thoughts about things, and I did too. And it was weird. And we kind of even talked about like different genres we'd want to go into, or not, or ones that we think maybe should never be in Star Wars, kind of thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So on the schedule, it's been roughly, everybody knows what's in the hopper in a sense, right? You've got Andor season 2, you've got Bad Batch season 3, you've got The Acolyte, you've got Skeleton Crew, and you've got another season of Tales of the Jedi, and you have ultimately, possibly, I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but season 4 of Mandalorian. Well, a few days ago, Disney Plus UK, so over in across the pond, had put a press release out apparently talking about what was coming out on Disney Plus in 2024,
Okay.
and it pretty much is what we had kind of anticipated. It mentions The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. It does not mention anything about the Bad Batch, but it might only be referring to the live action stuff because
Right.
I think Tales of the Jedi is expected to come out too, right? So the rumor is that Acolyte will be sometime in the summer, and Skeleton Crew will be sometime late next year, which does open up the doors for the Bad Batch to come out a little bit earlier in the year. Hopefully like a February or March or something like that.
Yeah.
But that means also, what this means is that you are pushing Andor back a year. So Andor is not going to be expected till 2025 now. And if there is a season 4 of Mandalorian, it's probably going to be that year 2 in 2025. So it is looking like, Lucasfilm is taking the direction of Bob Iger pretty seriously, which is quality, not quantity, and not flood the market with these things. So Do you have a thought of, do you think that's what is happening? Or is this a result of the strike solely?
I think it might be a combination of both. I think it
Yeah.
might be, okay, well, let's back off and let's really flush out what we're not comfortable with, keep moving forward with what we are. But I honestly do believe a huge chunk of it was the strikes. And it could be during the strikes, the executives had time to sit with the material and then go, oh, we should actually change X, Y, and Z, but we can't because the writers are striking. So we have to wait until they come back. So that could have happened as well. I think, and you might have some writers who said, no, I'm not coming back because I don't like the agreement that our union came to. You could have some actors who are like, you know what, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Like there could be a number of different factors going into this. So I just think it was a whirlwind of a storm. It was a storm that needed to happen, in my opinion. But you know that there are consequences for it, and I don't necessarily mean consequences in a negative way. It's you know it's the cause and effect. So I wonder if it's a mixture of those two things. I think it is. But what do you think?
It's tough because I feel like I feel like the Acolyte is still roughly on pace because I mean that was pretty much all done before the strikes happened. There might have been some. I mean, it might have been some reshoots, or there might have been some, changes in post and things like that. But the target date was always roughly early 2024, so that might be a little delayed. Skeleton Crew is surprising because if that was supposed to premiere now, I'm surprised that that's so delayed because that they had to have been done shooting before these strikes.
Well, maybe they had to do reshoots. Maybe there was some ADR they needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could have gotten that done before the actors' strike started because that started later.
Yeah, that's true.
So
But technically, if you needed to get some ADR and you needed to change some of the lines, you would need technically a writer. You couldn't
yeah,
just do it.
I guess, but a director could have just changed them
I don't know.
for ADR.
I think union laws are crazy when it comes to stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy strict, but I don't know.
but even if you
Right.
got time now to finish it and put it out earlier than a year later, so I think it lent its. I think the strike did have an effect, but I think what Iger's trying to do with this content has a little bit more of an effect. I think he's telling, because I think we're going to see a change with like all the Marvel stuff that's coming out, right? I think it's going to be either spread out or we're going to get a lot less of it.
Well, he's listening to viewers because that was the biggest complaint of the latest round of Marvel was
Yeah.
it was just so much, and it was I think it'd be one thing if it was actually all good. I still cannot get through Doctor Strange 2 just because of the CGI. Like,
Yeah, and I also think though that the CEO, Iger started this Disney Plus on his way out, right?
yes.
He started it. That was his like lasting legacy in a sense before he came back, not knowing he was coming back. But when he did that, he handed it over to the next CEO and the next leadership staff. Well, it was weird because I feel like their strategy was, let's spend a lot of money and put a lot of stuff out so that we can keep the subscriber base growing. But that kind of backfired in a sense because there wasn't a lot of people subscribing, and so you're losing money. And that's what Iger, I think, is responding to is, we got to stop the bleeding. We got to stop spending. And if we're going to spend, we're going to put out some quality stuff so that we get people interested in the stories, not just the quantity of all the stuff that's there, because you're right. I mean, it's hard if you're a truly dedicated fan. It's hard to keep up. I've fortunately have been able to somewhat keep up, but like the Marvel stuff, I've sat there with my daughter and we watched She-Hulk and we watched Moon Knight and we watched WandaVision and all these. You watch them all, but to be honest, yeah, like I'll never watch them again. Like there's nothing memorable about them really, and they're not connected like they were, like the movies were. Now Star Wars is something different because we haven't gotten as many. I mean, if it kind of feels like it, we have, but live action wise, we're talking 3 seasons of Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Andor, and Boba Fett, right? I mean,
right.
But we're talking, it debuted 4 years ago, right? So in 4 years, we've gotten, but then, throw in some Clone Wars season 7, a couple seasons of Bad Batch, yeah, then you're maybe talking like we've gotten a lot of Star Wars series. So,
but
does that feel like too much to you?
I think the reason why it doesn't feel like it's too much compared to Marvel is that there are parts of that aren't canon, or there are parts of those bits that you're like, okay, I don't have to do my homework to watch this.
Oh, right.
Like
Yeah.
Star Wars Visions. That was such a lovely palate cleanser because you're like, I just can be in this world of Star Wars and I don't have to do my homework. Andor was a bit of that too, and so was Obi-Wan, because you didn't necessarily have to see all these different TV shows lining up to understand what's going on. Mandalorian, the same. You just have to know the movies and then you're pretty much good.
Yeah.
And I think it made some people want to go back and watch the Clone Wars and watch Rebels and get into those shows. So I think it helped that you didn't have to watch everything to keep up. But with Marvel, you do. Like if I were to jump into probably Loki season 2 right now, I probably would be completely lost.
Oh, yeah. What you mean without season 1?
No. Like seeing season 1, or maybe the Marvels. Is that a thing? The Marvels?
The Marvels? Yeah, that's the latest
Like
movie.
If I were to watch that movie, I probably would be completely lost and not understand what's going on.
Yeah, probably. Well, did you watch WandaVision?
I did watch WandaVision. Is that the most important one?
Well, that sets up Rambo,
Right, but I didn't watch Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel, yeah. So you'd kind of be like,
and I didn't see I didn't see the movie Captain Marvel.
Oh, you didn't see the first one?
So
well, yeah. Don't see it then. And honestly, again, according to the box office, it's not worth seeing. So anyway, but it's one thing too, because these last 4 years, the difference with Star Wars and Marvel is we haven't had any movies.
That is true.
So it's one thing if you've got like movies coming out, like Marvel's putting 2 or 3 movies out a year still with all these series. So yes, it gets overwhelming, but Star Wars, I feel like it's been okay because all we've gotten is what's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense too, but I feel like some people, and I don't think you and I are like this, but some people would probably prefer a movie over a TV show because in their mind, a TV show is more than a movie. Does that make sense?
It definitely is. It's more screen time for sure.
But in their mind, they're like, oh, now I got to sit down and watch these 8 things versus I get to sit down and watch this one thing. So
people prefer movies, you think?
I think some people do because in their mind, it's, I don't like I feel like that's the difference between people who like Star Wars and people who love Star Wars, or that's one of the differences. If you love Star Wars, you're like, yes, give me the TV show so I can enjoy this for a long time.
Right.
But if you like Star Wars, you're like, and you're in the mood for Star Wars, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll watch the first episode, and then you're not in the mood for Star Wars, and next thing you know, 6 months have gone by and you haven't continued. Versus, yeah, I'm in the mood for Star Wars, let me watch a movie, and then that's your Star Wars fix for the next couple of months. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think, I think the movies is obviously what built the fan base.
Yes.
So you Star Wars definitely deserves to be in theaters.
Hands down. I feel like that's the one where I'm like, please don't put it on Disney Plus until it's been in theaters for a solid month or two.
Oh
And
yeah.
then put it on Disney Plus. Because, yeah, Star Wars is something you have to experience in the theater.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, yeah, I think there. I don't know. I would if I was Kathleen Kennedy, I would probably be looking back, thinking, man, we should have at least put one movie out by now. We should have
Yeah.
just to. And I know you run into some problems with the pandemic and everything, kind of shut stuff down, but I mean it doesn't take 3 years to make a Star Wars movie anymore, right?
Even if it was just an animated movie.
Yeah, or something simpler. You just find the right story. I feel like these stories that they were trying to think about doing, like Rogue Squadron, which would have been out right now, or Taika's movie, or we heard about Ryan Johnson's movie in the very 10 years ago. I feel like, and who knows about those? So no, I think and I guess we can just get into the discussion right now because we were going to do it anyway. But
Yeah.
The talk was really, or the thought was really. I feel like so Ahsoka wrapped. What was the last episode of Ahsoka? I don't even remember now.
It
Let me
was
see.
no idea.
Ahsoka ended on. Oh dang it! This. I don't understand why this is. Got to figure out what happened to the Mandalore, because on Apple on Mandalore it doesn't show all the episodes.
Interesting. That's weird.
Yeah. Ours does, so I think I'll just look back on ours. So we talked about season finale on October 13th, so the week of October 13th. So it has almost been 2 months.
Wow.
Right? So next week will be 2 months since we've gotten a Star Wars series on Disney Plus. And, the way it feels like is there's been some downtime, but we're talking maybe a month or two, but we kind of have an expectation of what's coming next, right? So there's discussions, there's trailers. Like we haven't seen anything from the next thing. We haven't seen an Acolyte trailer. We haven't seen a Skeleton Crew trailer. We haven't seen a new Bad Batch trailer. So you can officially say it's been a dead time this past couple months in Star Wars. And I'm starting to just wonder, because I don't anticipate really with the holidays coming up, I really don't anticipate anything happening over the next couple weeks.
Right.
I mean, we could get some kind of announcement, but we're not going to see anything for a while, right?
Right.
So I just kind of start wondering, is this going to have any effect on the fan base? Is it going to have any effect on Lucasfilm, the Star Wars franchise? I mean, I don't know. Because I just feel like I don't hear or see the chatter as much as I used to on the channels right now. So I don't know. Does that make sense? What do you think about that?
I mean, I think there is an effect on it, but I wonder if it's a good effect. Because think of how long the wait period was between Clone Wars and The Force Awakens. And it just was this tidal wave of excitement among fans. It was huge. So I wonder, especially with like the TV shows that are out and such, I wonder if this lull or this moment of calm is like the perfect time for people to catch their breath, to kind of catch up on everything and get ready for the next bit. Because if you think about it, the two big shows coming out, they're featuring unknowns for us in the sense of it's not taking, like, one's taking place during the Skywalker saga, sure, but it's going to be people we don't know. It's going to be characters we don't know. Acolyte, characters we don't know. We assume, and there are rumors that we might get a Revan in there. We might get Darth Plagueis. I know you and I have when it first came out and we saw the pictures of the cast, we had a theory that we were going to get a holocron of Avon Chris.
Yes. Yes.
So we might get some characters that are somewhat familiar, but it's still a bunch of unknowns. So I almost wonder if this is a period of kind of figuring out, okay, how do we get people excited for this? And maybe this is the strategy. It's hold things back, build up the anticipation, and hope that the reaction's the same like The Force Awakens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is negative?
I think the negativity, I don't think it's negative right now. I think the problem is that it could be that you kind of said it a little bit, that like right now there's no anticipation.
Right.
Because we don't have anything to look forward to right now. We don't know what's coming.
Well, we know what's coming. We just don't know.
Well, we know it's
when.
coming. We just don't know when. Right. Exactly. So, but we don't know what order. Like, I don't know what's the next thing yet. Right. So it's weird because I feel like they put out these schedules and they never stick to them. Like, wait till Andor comes in 2024. Well, that's not happening now. Skeleton Crew debuting at the end of 20. Well, that's not happening now. So,
yeah,
I get it that there's things that happen, but it's not that often that they're moving movie dates. Like, they're making them finish and put them out no matter where they are. And sometimes, you hear about shots not being fully completed and things like that, but. So I you don't hear it much about these. If they want to delay a show, they'll delay a show, So I think it's not negative now, but I think what can make it negative is if you have this dead time and then you finally get to release something and it's not very good.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I waited all this time for this.
Well, what if?
And I'm not saying that that's going to happen for me, probably me or you, but
right.
I'm sure there's fans out there that are hanging on to that,
So then what if this is what they're doing? What if they're waiting? Like, we assume that Acolyte is done. We don't know for 100%, but we assume. What if we assume that Skeleton Crew is wrapping up, meaning like wrapping up delivery of all the deliverables? And then what if they're going to sit down and watch everything and then decide, okay, this is the order in which we need to release these shows?
Yeah, that's possible. That's definitely possible. I think that could be right.
Because if you think about what's being released, I can't really think of a crossover happening between those four, except potentially Bad Batch with Skeleton Crew, maybe.
Different eras, so
yeah.
probably
So
not.
I'm saying, like, if you're going to stretch the imagination, that's
Yeah.
only one that's a potential. So I think it's safe
Yeah,
to assume that there's no crossover between all four. So technically, it doesn't necessarily matter which one comes out first. So it could
that
be
that's right.
they're all done. They just have to decide the order, but they want to wait until they watch everything before they do so.
Yeah, that could be right. I mean, I think the opportunity they're missing right now though is and maybe it'll come. Maybe it'll come within the next week or two, but just a teaser trailer, just something.
Well, they're probably going to wait to figure out, and maybe right now, tonight is the night where they decide what's going to air first. So then by Christmas, as a little Christmas gift, they then do a trailer for what's going to be first released next year.
Yeah, I would here's what I would do if I was the person in charge.
We're doing a council session crossover right now.
Maybe. No, but I think I like what you said though. I think by Christmas or right before Christmas, I would put out a I would put out a trailer, but I would put out a trailer of the things coming out in 2024.
They might be doing that. They might do like a big combo wombo trailer and
Yes,
say,
that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah, yeah.
coming to Disney
Oh,
Plus in 20, and you just get a mixture of the shows that are coming, which would be if we're right, it would be Bad Batch, Acolyte, Tales of the Jedi, and Skeleton Crew.
that's actually really, really smart because then you're really pushing for Disney Plus and you're really pushing for that subscription. It's not like, oh, there's this one
That's
show that
right.
you could do a free trial for. It's like, no, you got to hang in there for this entire year. That's
Exactly right.
really smart, man.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
technically, they're already doing it because if you notice, every month they put out a thing like on Disney Plus this month, and they
yeah.
do kind of that. But just do a Star Wars one
Except
and
on
and
Disney
put it
Plus
out there.
this year.
Correct. Exactly. And I guess you could make it a New Year's thing, to kick off the new year.
Make it a Christmas thing so that people think, oh, you know what I'm going to get the Star Wars lover in my life? A year
Ah,
subscription to Disney Plus.
very, very good. There you go. See? Yep. There you go. There you go. So I do think that if that doesn't come or something doesn't come, then again, I think the anticipation could start becoming, just impatience,
Yeah.
and then the impatience could turn into negativity if someone's not satisfied with what they get. So I think you have to get back to putting in that anticipation by at least showing something.
Yeah, based on what you're saying, I think I would give the one caveat to mine is that you got to show something. You got to drop something. You've got to, even if it's pictures, just something.
Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be a date,
Yeah, that's right. No.
just something so that we know it's coming instead of first of next year. Oh, guess what? All four shows, huh? Next year. It's like,
That's
what?
right. Yeah, because I think the one thing they are still pushing is they're obviously still publishing things, right? So you're
Yes.
you're getting comics and you're getting books, but I still don't. I wish I knew this, and maybe I can find this out at some point. But I want to know that, like, I want a poll on what percentage of Star Wars fans are actually into the publishing side of Star Wars.
That's actually a really good question. And
You know,
I
what would
think
you think it would be?
I
You think
don't
it's
know.
half?
I think it would have dipped. I definitely think that when the extended universe was like no longer canon, you probably
Oh,
like
you think
I
people
know
fell
for
off?
yeah, like for me, I was pretty upset because I dedicated all my time into this amazing story only to be told, hey, guess what? That amazing story, we're swapping it for this. And it's like,
Right.
what? Why? It
Yeah.
was. Why? So I think there was a dip because, who wants to reinvest their time into all of that again? So I think maybe more newer Star Wars fans are into the books and comics than
Hmm.
ones that are pre-Disney buying Star Wars. That would be my, if I were to make a calculated guess, that would be my guess.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I do agree. I think it's maybe less than what it was. But I would say if you put, I don't know, you grabbed 100 Star Wars fans, like, and I say Star Wars fans in a sense that if you said, if you're a Star Wars, if you watch the movies and watch the Disney Plus shows, and you put all those people, you got 100 people, then put them in a room, and then you said, all right, how many of you are reading books and comics?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be surprised if it was more than half.
I was about to say my guess would be about 40%.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. About 40 to 50 is all I would say tops.
But if it's more than half,
And here's the thing. I bet you that would only be the people that have just read a few books.
Mm-hmm.
But to say like who reads them all, who reads all the comics, I mean, you're talking probably less than 10%.
Just you and I going.
Exactly. It's like I would definitely say it's like less than 10 people or 10 people.
10% probably. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say 10%, if that.
That would, yeah. I mean, again, that's a small sample size, but 1 out of 10 people, I think that's right to say that they keep up with everything.
Yeah.
That might be generous, actually. I don't know.
I think that's generous, but I think that's a safe generous guess.
Yeah. So again, so majority of the people out there were thinking that their Star Wars is Disney Plus and the movies. So right now they're completely, out of it. Like they're not seeing anything. They're not reading anything. I mean, you can see there's no news. Like no one, they're not even, that's the thing too. It's weird that I mentioned on council sessions with Martin is that, we talked about Filoni in this new role. Well, Lucasfilm actually hasn't even officially announced it. It's all the trades that are talking about it.
Oh. Well, do you think maybe they're planning some like big event kind of thingamabob?
One thing I didn't look at, I've been looking at StarWars.com, but it's like maybe it's on Lucasfilm.com.
Is it?
I'm gonna look it up, but the nothing on Star Wars says, oh look, it's our. And I'm looking at the latest news here. No, there's no news on here. I mean,
no, the latest thing they have is Indiana Jones.
If you go to who we are, though, let's see.
Who we are. Leadership.
Yeah, so Dave Filoni on there now, he's executive vice president / chief operating officer. So his title has changed.
Yes.
But there hasn't been there's not like an announcement, an official press release. You know how you do press releases for most of the stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Carrie Beck obviously is up there now as executive vice president, live action development. So she's basically in charge of development now.
Interesting.
So yeah, so his title officially has changed, but it just they just didn't, as in Lucasfilm, Disney, they just didn't make a big deal about it. I feel like, I mean, to me, that's a big promotion for him.
Maybe they're going to do like a big announcement video on social media or something.
It could come, but I mean, the article's been out now, in the trades 2 weeks now. So
yeah, that's true.
Who knows? True. But anyway, that's just a little example of like, here's at least something to like put out there and advertise. And it's just like, unless you're like reading, the websites or Variety or the Hollywood Reporter, you don't really know about this stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So anyway, maybe, yeah, like it's like I noticed on StarWars.com, they do latest kind of news blocks in it. But right now, the front thing on there right now is, watch the Star Wars holiday special, the one that they put out like a year ago. It's like, it's old news, right?
Yeah.
So I sound like I'm kind of complaining, but I'm not. I'm trying to just try to understand what their mindset is right now, because it just feels like I know there was a strike, but it feels like they're like taking a break and just kind of sitting back and just waiting it out,
Well, you
waiting
also
something
know
out.
this. You know this business. Most companies shut down during this time.
Yeah, but Star Wars, but they've had a series going on at this point at last few years. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Mandalorian started last year. The year before that was Boba Fett.
Uh,
Like
Touche.
we've got something we're talking about at this point. But it's but again, there's just no announcements. Like we don't know.
Right.
At Celebration they talked about these 3 movies. We haven't heard peep about those yet. Except
Yeah.
rumors about the Rey movie and all that stuff. But I don't know. Do you? The last thing we'll mention, I think, is, I mean, part of me does feel like it's some pressure from Disney, because I don't know how much you've read about it, but like, I mean, Disney stock is doing really bad. There's a lot of shakeup going on, possibly in the leadership. There's board seats that are getting argued and fought over by companies. So if you read the financial news right now, I mean, Disney financially is kind of struggling. So I don't know if that probably has to have some kind of effect of maybe what's happening.
It has to. Like, so I wonder again if it's them just kind of taking a step back. They're going to watch all of these series and figure out, okay, because I don't know, like, there are some times where I think it's no coincidence when a big production company puts out a movie that doesn't do as well as others, or puts out a TV show that doesn't do as well. Like, I have to imagine that's part of some strategy. I don't know what strategy, but it could be they're looking to see what their strategy is for this next year to gain the most profit based on the quality of each of these shows. Or, God forbid, they watch one of the shows and say, this is horrific, we can't put it out because we would lose. But then you're already losing money from all the production you put into it. So I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what do you do at that point?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think there's I think there just could be a lot going on behind the scenes right now that like you said, I think it's this time, the strike and all this stuff has given them a chance to kind of pause a little bit and reevaluate what's coming. And I mean, there's been rumors that there's possibly some series that they might not even release, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Not on Star Wars side anyway. Maybe Marvel side, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we better get something before Christmas.
Or Dave Cunningham is flying out to LA and giving them San Francisco, and giving them a piece of his.
Yeah, I'll just call Filoni and find out what's going on. Because
What the heck, man?
We're tight. Okay, like I said though, it's lots of comics out there. This month still. Next week you got Bounty Hunters 41. You got Shadows of Starlight #3, which is a High Republic series. Then after that, on the 20th, Darth Vader 41. After 39, High Republic #2. Mandalorian Season 2 #7. Star Wars Revelations. And then at the end of the month, Dark Droids #5. So, yeah, they're still cranking out the publishing side of things. And, of course, High Republic Phase 3 is going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about on Beyond the Saga, some comics that we're continuing on. Yeah. So come check that out.
Yes.
And you know what, we should be still doing these in December, I think, because the holidays are kind of earlier in the week, and but you know, we hope everybody enjoys the holidays. You know,
Yes.
Christmas has already started in our house, so we actually put up our trees a little earlier this year. So
Aw.
yeah, it's fun. You know, when you got kids getting excited and stuff for it, you know, it's always good. You know, we have a station, you know, in Lexington that starts playing Christmas music right after Thanksgiving, and I gotta admit, I listen to it because I like listening to Christmas music because you only get it for a month.
The day after Halloween, Bing Crosby came on in our household.
Oh, nice. Day after Halloween. Wow.
Day after
Okay.
Halloween. My husband, he was
Okay.
like, it's November 1st. And I'm like, yeah. And he said, you know what that means.
Oh gosh, I didn't know. So you're big. You're big into Christmas.
Yeah, I like Christmas.
Ah,
I mean,
okay.
I like Christmas. I like Halloween. I like
But
Christmas.
you like Chris. But so before Thanksgiving, you like Christmas.
Yeah. I'm even the type of person where there are some times where in July I'm like, you know what I could use? I could use some Christmas music. And I'll just put it on.
I've actually never done that.
Oh no! There's
It,
something about. I'm sorry, but there is something about Christmas music in July that's actually very magical and very therapeutic. I don't know what it is, but there's just
I
some
don't know
beauty.
either.
Try it. Try it.
I would.
2024
I was
resolution.
for the. I was for the longest time. I was one of those that was. I don't want to think about Christmas till after Thanksgiving. Like, but now I'm like, you know what? Thanksgiving is Christmas season now.
Hmm.
Like it just happens to be during Christmas season now. So
The one thing
I'm all for November Christmas.
the only one holiday thing I cannot stand is that the release of the pumpkin spice latte seems to be getting earlier and
It's way
earlier.
too early. It's way
It's
too
too
early.
early. That's where I draw the line. Is pumpkin
Yeah.
spice latte.
The pumpkin pie blizzard at Dairy Queen used to be November, and then it was October, and now I feel like I'm getting in at September.
Yes, and I feel like at one point it like there are some places that do pumpkin themed stuff in August, and I'm like,
Yes, yeah,
no,
I think so. Yeah, no, no, no.
no,
I'm with you.
that's no. Ay,
Okay,
ay, ay.
let's see. Our friend Thrawn Attic last week on our Filoni talk says, "Hi, Dave and Hannah. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate in the UK, but always looks amazing. It is.
Yeah, it is.
I know there have been some mixed reactions with Dave Filoni's new role, but I think it's a great thing. I'm happy to know Star Wars is in good hands of someone who knows Star Wars inside and out. Dave knows everything from the philosophy, characters, worlds, and what Star Wars represents as a whole. So don't see how this could be a negative. I just hope he doesn't get stretched too thin, watching over so many projects that it affects his projects like Ahsoka Season 2 and his movie. Will also be interesting to see how he does working on or being involved in different genres of Star Wars, like Andor, which is a bit darker themed. Thanks again, Dave and Hannah, for all your great content and discussions. May the force be with you. Yeah, I think it would have been interesting. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be a part of Andor because it's pretty much already done. I think they're doing reshoots and stuff, but there's definitely going to be, you know, if Acolyte gets into more seasons, you know, he'll probably have to start getting involved in that and things like that.
But I think it goes back to when we talked about last week about delegation and having a solid team around you. So
Sure.
I do agree that I hope he doesn't get spread too thin because then it's like somebody working at 80% is not going to give 100% content. That's just
Yeah,
facts.
that's facts. Yeah, true. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us and sticking with us over the course of 2023. Still got a few more weeks here in December before we get into, and as just a little preview going into the new year, we'll do our we always kind of do a look back at what we enjoyed most about 2023, and then we'll do what we anticipate to, and hopefully we have that trailer that shows us what we're getting in 2024, so we can be excited about that and talk about that a little bit. But
Yeah, call Filoni. Let him know. Let him know.
I will. I'm going to text him right now, actually, right when we get done. So, thanks, Hannah, for being here, as always.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Patreons, as well, for staying with us and for your
Absolutely.
support.
Absolutely. As always, we appreciate it. We are talking about some content we're going to start in January for everybody, especially the patrons. So
Yes.
we're going to talk about a little bit more of that in the next couple episodes. So, all right, Hannah, I'm sure I'll see you and talk to you tomorrow.
Yep. See you or talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend, and may the force be with you.